Good morning, students. Now today we are going to discuss about unit number 3rd, laws of motion. Module number 1st. In the previous chapter, we have discussed about the concept velocity to describe uniform motion and acceleration to describe non-uniform motion. In this chapter, we will discuss about what are the causes of motion. What are the causes of motion? First of all, we will discuss about what is force. What is force? Force. What is force? So, this term can explain with the help of suitable example. Let us consider a body of mass m. Let us consider a body of mass m placed at point A. Placed at point A. If we give a push, then it moves from A to B. A to B. If we pull this body, then this move from A to C. A to C. So, force is an external effort. Force is an external effort which tries to change the state of the body from point A to B, from point A to C, whether it is push, whether it is pull. So, force is an external effort tries to change the state of the body which is at rest or uniform motion along straight line. First of all, we will discuss about the great philosopher Aristotle. Aristotle. 384 to 329 BC. Aristotle. He says external force is necessary to keep body is in motion. External force, whether it is a push or whether it is a pull, is required to keep body is in motion. External force. Force is must to keep body in motion. To keep body in motion. Galileo. 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 Galileo Galilei proved Aristotle views were wrong. Galileo Galilei proved Aristotle views were wrong. External force is required to just counter the frictional force. To just counter the frictional force. He says external force is required to just counter the frictional force. Frictional force. Galileo conduct experiment with one inclined plane. Galileo conduct experiment with two inclined plane. He proved Aristotle views were wrong with one inclined plane. Galileo experiment with one inclined plane. Galileo experiment with one inclined plane. Galileo experiment with one inclined plane. This is the horizontal surface and this is inclined plane. The ball is rolling down motion is accelerated motion. Second, ball is up the plane. Then motion is retarded motion. In third case, then slope of this inclined plane is zero. Slope becomes zero. Then ball move on this surface neither accelerated nor retarded. Neither accelerated nor retarded. Now, Galileo conduct experiment with two inclined planes. Now, Galileo conduct his experiment with two inclined planes. This is the inclined plane first, this is the inclined plane second. Inclined plane second. There are two types of situations. In first situations, there is no frictional force, means ideal situations. In second situations, there are some frictional force between inclined plane and ball. There are two situations. First one is ideal situations. In ideal situations, ball is rolling down on this plane. If there is no frictional force, then this height is equal to this height. Ball attain to same height. In ideal situations. If there is no ideal situations, means some frictional force between inclined planes and balls, means this height H dash somewhat less than original height. No ideal situations. In second case, if slope of second surface, second inclined plane is decreased. In second case, the slope of second plane is decreased. In ideal situations, the distance traveled by the ball is much large compared to the first case, and ball attained same height. Ball attained same height. Distance traveled by slope decrease, slope decrease. Distance traveled by distance traveled by ball is larger on second plane. Second plane. In third case, if slope of second inclined plane is 0. If slope of second inclined plane is 0. If slope is 0 means if slope is 0, slope 0. The ball travel much larger distance, means infinite distance. Ball travel infinite distance, and never stop. Never stop. Next one is Galileo law of inertia. Galileo law of inertia. In Galileo law of inertia, Galileo law of inertia. Galileo law of inertia. In Galileo law of inertia, if net external force acting on the body is 0, if net external force acting on the body is 0, it means body is in state of rest or uniform motion. This is called Galileo law of inertia. If net external force acting on the body is 0. Is 0. If net external force acting on the body is 0, then body is in state of rest or uniform motion. Second, what is inertia? What is inertia? What is inertia? Inertia means it is incapability of a body. It is incapability of a body to change by itself its state of rest or uniform motion. This incapability of a body is called inertia. This body can't change. This body can't change its state of rest or uniform motion. This body can't change its state of rest or uniform motion by itself called inertia. Now next one is linear momentum. We have already discussed about the term linear momentum. In lower classes, what is the linear momentum? Linear momentum. The quantity of motion for possessed by material body, that is called linear momentum. The quantity of motion possessed by material body. The quantity of motion possessed by material body called linear momentum. So linear momentum P, that is equal to mass multiplied by velocity. Unit SI system. Unit of mass, that is kilogram. Unit of velocity, that is meter per second. In case of CG system, unit of mass, that is gram. Unit of velocity, that is centimeter per second. Dimensions of mass, as we know, m. Dimensions of velocity, L, P minus 1. So dimensional formula of linear momentum, M L 1 P minus 1. Linear momentum is a vector quantity. Linear momentum is vector quantity. Spatial cases. Case number first. The two bodies having mass m1 and m2 moving with same velocity. The two bodies having mass m1 moving with velocity v, second body having mass m2 moving with velocity v. If two body having mass m1 and m2 moving with constant velocity, the linear momentum of first body P1, that is equal to m1 v1, P2, that is equal to m2 v2. Divided by this equation by this equation, P1 divided by P2, that is equal to m1 divided by m1 v1 divided by m2 v2. Sorry, m1 v, m2 v. Therefore m1 divided by m2. If m1 greater than m2, mass of this body is greater than this body. Therefore P1 greater than P2. Means heavier body is larger momentum than lighter body. Second case number second. Case if two bodies having same mass, moving with velocity v1 and v2. This body mass and velocity v1, second body mass and velocity v2. Then momentum of this body P1, that is equal to m into v1, v that is equal to m into v2. This is momentum. v2 that is equal to m into v2. Dividing this equation by this equation, P1 upon P2, that is equal to m v1 divided by m v2. v1 divided by m v2. If velocity of this body is greater than this body, it means momentum of this body is greater than this body. As V1 greater than V2, therefore P1 greater than P2. So graph between P and V, graph between P, V at constant mass, mass constant. Second, in this case M1 greater than M2 means P1 greater than P2. So this is the P, this is the M, and straight line V constant. In third case number third, if two bodies having mass M1 and M2 moving with velocity V1 and V2, but same linear momentum, this is first body mass M1 velocity V1, second body mass M2 velocity V2. Linear momentum of this body P1 that is equal to M1 V1, P2 that is equal to M2 V2, but condition is same momentum, condition is same momentum P1 that is equal to P2. It means M1 V1 that is equal to M2 V2. Therefore M1 divided by M2 that is equal to V2 divided by V1. V2 divided by V1. Mass of this body is again greater than this body. So from this relation we conclude that as M1 greater than M2, V2 greater than V1. So graph, nature of the graph means this is the velocity, this is the mass, and nature of the graph reverse. If velocity is higher, then mass is smaller and P is constant. Next.